In the year 1798, a renowned scholar named Thomas Malthus explained to us how we were all going to die. With our population rising so rapidly across the globe, our food supply had no chance to keep up with us, and within 100 years we would be reduced to small pockets of survival, fighting over very limited resources. Living on a world with over 7 billion people is a crowning achievement for our race, and further proof that Malthus was wrong. After all, who could have expected an agricultural revolution to improve farming yields by over 100%? But for all we talk about Malthus being wrong, there's still a very, very large problem in the world. Every day, in the countries we call home, the advanced and developed countries, thousands of people die to hunger and malnutrition, and more people live in poverty than were alive than when Malthus made his claims. So I want you to think about poverty. What do you see when you hear that word? Everyone's definition is different, but most of us see something like this. It's terrible, haunting, but it's also far away. We like to think that the bad things only happen in far away places, somewhere we can point our fingers and assign blame. But there are hundreds of millions of people who live their lives unable to afford their most basic needs, who live in countries like ours, where there's supposed to be unlimited success for anyone with the passion to find it. Countries like the United States, the very home of the American dream, there are 46 million people, 16 million of them children, who are recognized as living in poverty by the federal government. That's 15% of our total population and 22% of our kids, over 1 in 5. But, just like we all have different definitions of what poverty is, the United States government has their definition, and it's frighteningly out of touch. To be considered in poverty here, a family of 4, 2 adults, 2 kids, must have a combined annual income under $23,021. However, looking at modern prices of living and income distribution, that family of 4 would need around $31,000 to get by in rural Nebraska, and in Boston, they would need $64,000 for their basic needs. See, the United States and many other governments, for whatever reasons, continue to use outdated ideas on how to calculate poverty, and it's making the issue seem smaller than it really is. The United States uses a formula designed off of one study done in 1963 for calculating the living wage, which said that food expenses were around 1/3 of a family's total expenditures. It's about 1/7 now, and it's not because we're eating less. The formula has only changed with regards to inflation, and it doesn't account at all for paying out of pocket for costs of things like healthcare, childcare, and transportation. Across the sea, things aren't much better. In Great Britain, 23% of the population lives at risk of poverty. Spain, 27. Italy, 28. Greece, 31. Across Europe, poverty is determined as earning less than 60% of the median income, which sounds like a more fair and honest system, until all but the highest paying jobs begin to falter and over 2/3 of new jobs being made are low paying and are hiring overqualified workers. In Europe, when the average becomes poor, people without enough to get by stop getting the help they need, because statistically, they aren't poor anymore. It's easy to make a formula that's wrong, though, and much, much harder to make one that everyone agrees is right. Many individuals and organizations have tried and suggested new and improved measures of the poverty line after seeing the shocking miscalculations of the government systems. But they found a wide range of how many people may actually be affected. 50% of Americans live in poverty. That certainly makes the issue seem a bit more dramatic, don't you think? But no matter where we draw the line, the reality is that people aren't getting enough. Minimum wages have dropped far below the living wage. Gone are the days where you could get a job at the factory and earn enough to raise a family. Our increasingly globalized world has cut potential labor costs into fractions by exporting jobs to developing countries, which stifle their growth and cost us much needed jobs. Unforeseen costs like uninsured medical bills are another factor. After all, losing all ability to work for a period of time and being stuck with medical bills that can climb into the millions can bring the fear of poverty to anyone. Poverty isn't caused by one individual's actions. It's the result of the entire system working itself to death. So what's the solution? Where's a plan we can all agree on and finally eliminate poverty at home? I'm sorry to tell you, but I don't know. It all starts with this, though: awareness. Our own poverty has been the elephant in the room for half a century. We've lied to ourselves about how bad things have gotten, and that's only made it all worse. Today, many charities and organizations are turning to look home, and they need our help. We can never win this fight until the people get involved and stand united against poverty. So please, don't just pass this by. Now that you know, it's time to act. Spread the word, get involved, do whatever you can do to help, because there's so many people out there counting on you.